Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Trueslider Gaming, continuing with our playthrough of Path of Exile, story time. We are going to make our way to the prison. As always, I tried to, get a bunch of stuff accomplished between the scenes. Cleaning up our inventory was probably a big one. And now we have to guess. Never mind, no guessing. These 3 stones should be the telltale sign that this is the way to go. Or so I think. Starting over in any league, it always seems to be a bit of a process, because if you watch a lot of videos, which I'd probably recommend doing, especially if you're playing this for the first time, is to try and figure out what is a really good build to do with like a 1 Exalt budget. Because you don't want to be too terrible. Sometimes a lot of skills look cool and sound cool and then turn out to be complete garbage. Like Spectral Shield Throw. Sounds great in theory until you actually get to play with it. One of my favorite skills of all time, Shockwave Totem, which is kind of just like, if I had to put words to it, it would be like the introduction to totems. It does really well up until mapping, and even in the first couple tiers of mapping, it works pretty well. But unfortunately, there's just nowhere for it in the world. In fact, I think they saw how terrible it was, and they gave it like a 58% damage boost on top of I don't remember what it's called. Damage efficiency. So whenever something gains like 3, say for example you're adding on 10 lightning damage. Before it only used to give 6 lightning damage, but now it gets the full effect of the 10. So I'm hoping that it increases the damage of that ability like 6-fold. There's not a lot you can do with that except convert your damage to a different element, which is pretty cool. It just completely goes... Let's try that again. It completely goes to show you that you can do almost anything you want in this game. If you want to do a melee attack that only does cold, only does lightning, only does fire, you can do whatever your heart desires, basically.
You and I were the only ones that made it to shore alive, anyway. This place is crawling with criminals. Find something you can defend.
I don't know if I have any rooms to push. Actually, probably because I used it all up. But if you, rare items at least. Still in level 7 area, so that's not too bad. So usually what catches people like early on is not having a good potion. If you remember, we sold 3 small potions to get a medium potion. Well, I just went to the vendor and I straight up bought a large HP potion. Just because when you start taking such large amounts of sustained damage, there's not too much that you can do aside from like Alta 4 out of the game. And we're just fighting everything. Yeah, to say this game is like a complete copy of itself from the early days, I don't know, it's probably not true. So much has changed. Kind of like the base course concepts are always gonna be the same no matter what you do. I'll just run into the blue. But they've done just so much on the back end. Just making everything work. Yeah, you can say it's kind of lazy that you'll have like the flavor of the months for different things that you're going to do, but in all honesty, it's probably... Pick up the shield. I don't know. It's a very fun experience, I would have to say.
Good travels, friend.
Oh, we're invited to the memory nexus. Let's just invite him to the hideout first. Yeah, so let's check out... I totally skipped through it, didn't I?
All these memories we've collected. When I gaze upon them, I feel as though I'm close to remembering something important. Like there are memories trapped in my mind, but I just can't quite reach them. Oh dear. Oh dear. I've remembered something. Exile. It's time we go to the Nexus.
Joy. Okay. So you'll forgive me if I randomly skip through things, even though we're doing a story playthrough. This zone is level 30. I don't know really what we're gonna do
I
here.
remember this. This place is the Nexus of... well, it's the Nexus. The name doesn't matter. What matters is what it represents. A doorway. A doorway into these memories. Here, take them and lay them out in this machine. It will reinforce the stability of the memories. They won't last too long, mind you, but they'll remain long enough to be explored. Build a path to the memories that lay out of reach. I'm sure this will help us. I'm sure of it.
Alright, we'll see what maps he has to offer, I guess. So if we look here, if we connect to this memory, there is an unknown something, but it also contains 2 to 3 synthesized chests with armor items. This memory only has 1 charge left and will start to decay upon being entered. Oh, so I guess it's just kind of like little timed areas that contain chests. Like this one just straight up doesn't even have... Yeah, it just says 3 to 4 chests. Yeah, so we have the sandbar area. We have 3 sandbar areas. Where does it fit? Nowhere? Can we rotate a piece? I guess we can't do anything with it. Maybe I'm just a fool and I'm supposed to walk up here. Nope. I guess we'll figure out what this is later. Oh, so it wants us to synthesize an item. We have... I wonder if it just... we can throw a bunch of things together. So let's quickly identify this stuff. So the goat horn gives you 1 mana on kill, which isn't that great, but whatever. This one is just extra evasion. No big deal. A hat with life on it, which is better than our crummy hat. And a 7 to 19 punch fist. Let's see if we can get a different weapon. This is our only weapon, though. We can't just throw anything together. Do I have another piece of armor? I guess it all has to be the same slot or something. Okay, we'll take a look at this when we have more pieces. I think that's probably our best bet. Alright, moving forward. No belts, though. It's a bit of a surprise. So we'll just hit up this waypoint here, and then we can just proceed forward. 3 fractured items of the same type into a new item, and then we need to connect a memory to another memory in the Nexus. Sounds doable. Did I lose a gem or something? I know it does like 6 damage, but any damage you can do in your downtime is perfectly fine. And so usually you'll find a bunch of builds that kind of have like the main flavor skill, but sometimes you'll find builds that have 2 things that you can kind of do in the same time. Like for example, there's a spell called Cremation, which raises a little volcano of shooting orbs underneath your target. This guy's giving me the business. Yeah, it's usually something like that is simple enough that you can just throw it up, and you can do pretty good burst damage on top of whatever damage you're trying to sustain with another skill. Usually you want to try and avoid splitting up everything too much. Like 2 skills is kind of like max. Oh, the fawn. He leaps. Can't be slowed. That's some pretty good luck, I have to say. So let's talk to Navali, who is the prisoner of fate.
Thank you for freeing me. The Mother of Death likes to play these little tricks on me, to remind me of my place. But she also sent you here to help. Let me return the favor, Exile. We will meet again in town, and then I will help you illuminate your path.
So Navali. Navali is kind of like when divination cards first came out. She was kind of the, I don't know, divination, the tarot reader, I guess you could call it. So you would exchange divination cards. What am I saying? You can exchange divination cards with her now, but as you go through, you'll pick up silver coins, and these silver coins give you.
Child's playhouse compared to this. They sure don't make them like they used to.
They give you prophecies, and so depending on the prophecy, every kind of zone that you go into, like each one of these areas that we've walked into, creates a brand new zone, and it's like a spun up server for, who knows, 15 minutes once you leave it. So, I don't know, GGG has kind of got their work cut out for them. When they have people in their own like individual rooms, I don't know, with just such responsiveness. That sounds like something. We'll go with that. Like yeah. They have a bunch of servers in like North America. They have a bunch of servers in Europe. You basically pick whichever one is closest so that you have the least amount of latency. So this is Chatters. He doesn't play around. Oh. Well, I guess I could probably do the responsible thing and show you the item that we got. So when you get a unique item, it'll come unidentified. And usually, depending on whether or not the item can be rolled, you can choose whether or not you want to identify it or sell it identified or unidentified. So for us looking at this, we're going to identify it because really there's only one thing that can happen with this. This is called a Tabula Rasa. It is an automatic 6-linked chest. But the unique thing about it is getting a 6-link unique chest is pretty tough. Getting a 6-link white, so if you see here, we can only put green gems in a green socket. Blue gems, blue socket, you get it. But when they're excuse me, when they're linked together, that's what allows us to have like synergies through support gems. So this is basically just like a free 6-link. You can have any gem in any combination, and as long as the prerequisites are met. So for example, a spell, if you see the spell cascade right in the middle of the screen there, you see that spell cascade doesn't work with our melee skill Frostblades, and it doesn't work with Orb of the Storms. So that's kind of like the only caveat to having a 6 link. So we will definitely miss our armor and 12 life, but if we die with a tabula rasa on. And that being said, let's go die. I'm just trying to see whether or not this attacks. It does attack a little bit faster, but otherwise slightly less damage. We don't really care about crit at this point. In fact, we're gonna equip 2 weapons just so that we get the little bit of it extra attack speed.
It's him. He sails back to me. My Doreso. I shall sing for him. I shall show him the way.
You crazy? There's all the loot. Oh. Chamber done? That's quick. Without loot either. So my thoughts are, we spent all of our magic find getting this item. And so for the next like 2 hours, it's over. We're gonna find just absolute garbage. We don't need Molten Strike. And so, I'll go towards this little thing right over here. Normally you're looking to ascend the prison, which we found the door, so we don't have to do too much exploring. But, what I will do is I will show you the Ascendancy trials. And so let's have a read, I guess.
In the court of the goddess, every man and woman is deemed worthy of redemption. Though you might be shackled by the tribulations of the past, the trials ahead offer you both freedom and glory. The future is yours, if you're bold enough to reach out for it.
Okay, so we are going to solve the trials of Ascendancy. And so every class that you get will have 3 Ascendancies, with the exception of the Scion, who you unlock the first time you ascend the tower, which we'll get to. But so you need to do each one of these quests. There's 6 in total in the first 3 acts, and once you do this, you get to kind of specialize. And so depending on the class that you pick, will kind of dictate what kind of a build you want to do. So for example, I don't know, let's think Shadows. So Shadows, they can be saboteurs, so they can specialize in traps and mines. They can be tricksters, specializing in evasion and crit. I don't know if it's still crit, but I guess we'll just take a look at it and see. And what else? You can move on to things like, so obviously, trying to think. You can be in the, I don't know if it's the witch. I think it's the witch. The witch can become an occultist, which gives her just kind of full access to energy shield. It's kind of like the defensive build of the witch, or you can just go be a elementalist and just blow things up left, right, and center. I don't think there's going to be any way to salvage this. Pick this up. Also, let's get rid of. We'll do that. Use our offhand as storage.
Belief is the strongest metal of them all.
I don't think he knows what metal is. If you see here, this is the trial plaque that kind of just tells you the 6 trials that you need to do in order to ascend for the first time. And as you get through the first 9 acts, you'll get to see, I don't know, different requirements. So there, now you see that we've completed the prison in Act 1, and we are free to move on at our own pace. So let's just very quickly run to the next area. Leave no scroll of wisdom behind. The funny thing about this game is just people have gotten so good at it. Like, you probably saw that spam on the left-hand side. You know, like, was the first to enter whatever dungeon. Yeah, it doesn't even show. I had a chat with my buddy. He's kind of wondering why I haven't been partying with him, because it's right at the beginning of the league.
Help me! I've fallen down here. I think I've hurt my leg. Hello? Oh, sit down. I'm sure someone will come soon. Maybe I can eat some of the mushrooms down here.
So that's what happened. He ate the mushrooms. Your first mistake. Think Mario Brothers happened in real life? No, it was just some guy tripping balls. You're going into a forest and eating the mushroom. Oh, that's good. So we're kind of just like running through these areas. These are always kind of like just little nice points where you know an area is going to have kind of bonus loot. Otherwise, you really don't have to fully find every single thing. Here we go. So we figured out that the Kavas, the Forgotten Seer, whoever the hell he is, ate a magic mushroom in the forest. Now he wants someone to take him home. Worst drunk friend ever. Stand in the blue. Okay. So let's grab our first... Yay, we got a first belt. It's terrible. So let's take a look at this claw. We can see that this claw is about a side grade compared to this axe anyways. Yes, we get a little bit of extra physical damage. So, it's nothing, I don't know, nothing spectacular. But we are fully full of garbage, so let's go back to town. Ooh, fancy. So, I mean, GGG gives you a bunch of ways of getting stuff like this. Sometimes they'll just straight up give you a free MTX box.
The Tale of Brutus.
Oops. It's, Brutus.
The Tale of Brutus was a popular one in the schools of Theopolis, taught in the hopes of deterring students from ambitions not condoned by the Templar. Brutus was warden of Axiom Prison and one of the most feared men in the Eternal Empire. But there the histories end, and the myth begins, with Brutus commissioning a witch to transform him in a mad attempt at immortality. A moment of hubris that didn't end well for anyone. If it's true, then Brutus has my pity. Some of us pay too dearly for our mistakes. Yet if you insist on learning from your own mistakes, then please, take one of these. You might need it.
Okay. So, she understands that as soon as we enter the prison that we're going to have to fight Brutus. And so she gives us some skill that we'll think we'll be able to make use of. And at this point I don't really know which one we're going to take. So, it's probably going to end up being like added lightning. But, so if you remember, every time we kill or do a quest that gives us gems, it kind of gives us access to a bunch of skill gems. So if you can see here, half of these skills we didn't have when we first started going through this. But usually once you get to any point, and it's probably a better idea to look at the wiki to figure out whether or not you get direct access to these things, is just to see what rewards you get, pick up a free gem, and then use some currency to pick up the actual ones that you want. Like for example, I know for a fact that we didn't have added fire damage, but buying it from the shop would be the only way of getting it without having to go all the way to Act 4. Act 5? I think it's Act 5. Act 3 in the library. But I can also see that we don't have any... Still no channel skills, I think. So we're going to be waiting just a little bit more.
Farewell.
So I don't want to sell anything just yet, because we're not really that desperate to get currency. Like, I think we're doing okay. Let's throw regular leveling garbage in here in case I die.
Hello.
Yeah, we'll just hold on to it. I know we don't need to, but we might as well just pick something now. These will be cheap to purchase again. So let's go with something that'll work well with frost blades, because we're going to be waiting a bit. We don't really need extra projectiles. Let's just grab that added lightning.
Goodbye.
The added lightning gems are a pretty big jump. So grab this mana on kill. We have 1 point, so we'll grab more HP. We'll be fine. Grab the tunic and that's probably it. Just take it slow, have some fun. You'll find a whole bunch of like skill gems on the ground. Don't feel obligated that you need to pick them all up. It's kind of nice when you're playing through for the first time and you don't really know what skill build that you're gonna end up playing in case you're playing hardcore. But in the event that you're playing softcore, like just leave it on the ground, unless it's something that you're gonna be actively chasing. I can't tell you the number of times in like earlier leagues that I would complete a league and then look at one of my stash tabs and just see that it's like, I don't know, it normally is just an area for me to collect quality gems, and usually it'll be like 30% full of just random gems that you might have to spend like an alch on to make it worthwhile. Way. Nothing that way. Alright, where is that way up? I see a little room outline right there, so we're gonna try and bank around, I think. One of the things that GGG really prides itself on, that I kind of started earlier and I don't think I quite finished, is the fact that almost every build will get you into maps. So if you feel like you're missing out on too much of the story, you're not really. Once you get to Act 10, that's kind of just like the bonus to this game. So I'm going to try and give you maybe a full look. I've killed the Asteri.
Curious. It moves like a killer, yet reeks of thaumaturgy. Would that I could observe you more closely, my mysterious shadow.
Yeah, she wants to observe me, except for the fact that she runs like a bitch. Okay, so let's read Shavron's journal.
Still the Karui barbarians advance upon us. Lina is dead. his legion slaughtered along with every eternal man, woman, and child from Lionel's watch to the foot of our axiom. Should the need arise, we shall retreat through Prison's Gate, raising my barricade behind us. Yet our salvation is at hand. Foul times demand heroic deeds, and through my arts our Lord Brutus will arise anew to defend us. May the dry sands quench their thirst with Karui blood when our mighty warden delivers his judgment upon them.
I don't know if it was just me, but she kept getting quieter and quieter during that read through. Ooh, jewelers. Yeah. Me and my friends kind of have a ongoing commitment that leave no barrel undestroyed, leave no chest unturned. Because you wouldn't believe, you'll go through and like you'll fight rare mobs thinking that that's the best way to get currency and other loot, but just these like basic chests end up giving us like half of our currency, half of our unique items. Let's read this order of protection.
My loyal Declan, give Our Lady Piety your absolute support and watch her with absolute scrutiny. There is much to learn from the likes of the Inquisitor, the Umbra, and the Soulless One. I would hate for Piety to feel that she need shoulder such perilous wisdom alone. Dominus.
This person isn't doing so hot. Nice little blood trail. And look at this guy, having a good time. Door closes behind us.
Your crime is trespass. Your sentence is death.
So all this guy is about is just not getting hit by ground slams, not getting chained into him. He tickles a little bit, I'll give him that much. But we also rely heavily on the fact that we are equipped with an armor that has no defensive stats. Purely skill offensive. There we go.
Big just means more places to stick a blade.
You got it. Evil, evil me.
Dear Chevron, you have certainly had your work cut out for you with Lionel's Legion. Do not concern yourself with Marseilles' complaints. Our Emperor is fully aware of the General's fickle nature. As to your need to accelerate the implantation process, I can recommend a quite simple alteration. Dip the gem in a boiling solution of 6 parts blood and 1 part thaumatic sulfite for no more than 13 seconds. Any longer, and you invite the crystal's wrath. Once the gem is withdrawn from the solution, you have but a few seconds to install the gem in the prepared flesh and close the wound. Should the gem cool too much prior to implantation, it will become inert, and you're patient with it. Trust in that bountiful talent of yours, Chevron. My thoughts are with you. Malachi.
Okay, so that kind of makes a lot more sense to what we'll see in like maybe, I think it's Act 7? But, I don't know. We'll see if you remember that in 7 hours, just like how this game expects you to. So, let's call this episode here. And in the next episode, we will just keep moseying along, I guess. Thanks for watching. I hope you're understanding the lore a little bit better about this game. This is a first-time read-through, although I guess you have the added bonus of watching someone who's beaten all these bosses many times. But thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.